はい。
And just like that, the final curtains have been pulled shut in front of Yuzu, ending Fantasy on Ice 2022. I don't think I'm the only Fanyu who had the overwhelming urge to burst through those curtains and run down the hallway after Yuzu begging, "Mate, mate, please don't leave us!" In this special episode of Yuzuru Hanyu is My Emergency Contact, the FanyuFanme podcast, we focus on Fantasy on Ice Shizuoka, the final stop of the Yuzuru Hanyu tour of progressive clothing removal. If there had been 5 cities, I can't say what would have happened. And at the end of this episode, we'll have a special Fantasy on Ice encore surprise. No, not that one, where I'll release some FanyuFanme previously unshared Yuzu thoughts from all 4 cities. But now, it's time to roll up our sleeves, because Yuzu apparently has something to say.
せーの。
Yuzu is trying to tell us something. And this time, it seems like more than just
ありがとうございました。
It was a full weekend of new Yuzu content. Yuzu interviews, Yuzu rehearsals, Yuzu Y stand, Yuzu Fujisama pose, Yuzu sitting in the arena, Yuzu putting on a shirt, Yuzu landing the quad axel and then pouring a cup of water over Bing Duen Duen. That didn't really happen. I was just testing you to see if you remembered anything that came after the putting on a shirt part. Don't worry, I'll grade on a curve. I do acknowledge it was actually Kobe who provided the Yuzu putting on a shirt part of the weekend. While everyone was melting, but not as much as Yuzu, which we'll get to later, one specific thought came to my mind. Now we know why Kobe kidnapped Yuzu. They had the shirtless Yuzu footage, and they had no idea what to do with it. So they just shared nothing. I imagine the cameraman returning to the studio with the footage sealed in a briefcase handcuffed to his wrist and asking, "What should I do with this?" I can see how Kobe may have needed a week to figure that one out. Speaking of figuring things out, it seems no one is quite sure exactly what is happening in Yuzu's newest program. Is it passion? Is it angst? Is it possible to have the head sway bestie squats in all of Yuzu's new programs? Or that other new move, which I don't think has a name, but I'm pretty sure you all know which one I mean. What is Yuzu's raison trying to tell us? The people who hadn't seen it yet were baffled. The people who saw it streamed in the theaters were baffled. The people who saw it in person 3 days in a row were baffled. And you know what this means? We have entered a new era. Yuzuru Hanyu on ice. Yuzu has found a new way to confound us, and we don't even need someone to ask him a question first. All I know is this. I don't have to understand it to know I like it. But back to shirtless Yuzu. You were hoping I would say that, weren't you? I am just as baffled by all this new shirt choreography as I am by raison. Perhaps more. What are Yuzu's abs trying to tell us? Are they trying to distract us from something? Are they a sleight of ab trick? Or maybe Yuzu really is just hot. And I mean in the body temperature way. When you look at the moments which have Twitter-pated, see what I did there? The Fanyus the most, they all seem related. Pouring water over his face, pulling off the wuzzle hoodie, lifting up his shirt, removing his jacket, rolling up his sleeve, lying on the ice, and staying there a while. The Fanyus thought we were the ones blazing, but all this time it was just poor Yuzu trying not to pass out from heat exhaustion. Granted, Yuzu, I don't imagine when you're in the grocery store and you get overheated, you push the cart down the aisle while holding your shirt up between your teeth. Then again, maybe you do. Or we'll start now. Sendai grocery shopping cart attendant applications just started pouring in. During intermission, the stream I was watching played Yuzu programs from previous years. Hana ni Nare, Masquerade, Rondo, Seimei. The list went on, and with the start of each new video, I would let out a little gasp of joy. Can I watch any of these programs on YouTube anytime I want? Yes. But the love and excitement I felt watching each of his programs reminded me, Yuzu has been giving us fantasies on ice for years, and not just in the summers, and often without pulling up his shirt. But now we are adrift. For the first time, we have no idea what Yuzu is going to do next. For the past 4 years, we weren't certain Yuzu would compete in the Beijing Winter Olympics, but I think we had a modicum of suspicion that, given the quad-axel trajectory, it seemed a natural marker on Yuzu's GOAT timeline. But ever since Beijing, we don't know what Yuzu is thinking. Fantasy on Ice had granted us a momentary reprieve from the What's Next Yuzu game. I tried to blissfully enjoy Fantasy on Ice without worries of what is to come, to bask in current Yuzu. But with every Yuzu interview, jump, and not jump, mysterious choreography, or side glance, I found myself asking, what does that mean, Yuzu? Or, to reference the iconic Yuzu moment from the 2015 Grand Prix final, why are you crying? Are you overwhelmed because you're happy? Because you're tired? Because you're retiring? Because you're not retiring and now you have to battle the new ISU nonsense? Because you didn't really find your lost bracelet in Makahari? And during the entire Notre Dame de Paris encore, I wondered, is this it, Yuzu? Is this your final statement? What are you trying to tell us? Ironically, if Yuzu were to actually answer, he would probably say, I like to skate? I feel like I'm waiting for Yuzu to pull the pin out of the Future of Yuzu grenade. Good or bad? When I went to sleep following day 3 of Shizuoka, after watching the replays multiple times, I wondered, what will we wake up to tomorrow? Plans to compete? A retirement announcement? An injury update? But it was none of these things. Instead, it was Yuzu in a hat. And I found myself letting out a sigh of relief. Things are back to normal. At least for a few more days. During those days, we will enjoy all of the gifts we were given from all of the Fantasy on Ice cities. Yes, even you, Kobe. But we will also continue to think, because Yuzu has given us so much to think about, and in the most beautiful language on ice. So Yuzu, you go rest somewhere with a powerful air conditioner, and do what you need to do. We will climb up to the last seat in the arena and sit patiently and quietly, giving you the space you need, until you're ready to tell us what's next.
完成です。
Not every Yuzu thought I have makes it into the blog or podcast, despite the fact that it may sometimes seem like I shouldn't be quite so transparent about my feelings. I consider the blog posts the live broadcast, the podcasts the rebroadcasts, and the thoughts I keep to myself are just called Kobe. But in honor of what was a truly extraordinary season of Fantasy on Ice, I'm going to share some of the moments I wanted to comment on, but which didn't quite qualify for the Fantasy on Ice Grand Prix final. So here they are in the FanyuFanme Fantasy on Ice Exhibition Gala.
せーの。
Number 1. What does Yuzu do after the opening while he waits to skate his program 18.6 hours later? Play video games? Lie on the ground in the backstage hallway? I'm sure I'm not the only person who would like to watch him go through his sanitation process after doing that. Don't forget your bangs, Yuzu. I guess he could sit in front of a mirror. I mean, I bide my mid-Fantasy on Ice time by looking at Yuzu, and I highly recommend it. Number 2. I'm amused by the exclusive interviews in the Fantasy on Ice programs, especially when they are translated and prove to be yet another answer about earphones. I'm not sure why they even bother having his team ask him his favorite things anymore. Or maybe that's why the questions are always the same. They asked him to complete a press questionnaire 10 years ago, and now they just keep rewriting the same 3 answers. Obviously, I'm kidding. I'm sure Yuzu takes great care in rearranging the words in the answers himself. For Makahari, I like listening to music on the earphones in my collection. For Nagoya, I have a collection of earphones and I like listening to music on them. For Shizuoka, earphones and music, collect and like. For Kobe, no program information available. Number 3. I considered doing an entire post about Yuzu's Fantasy on Ice regrets, and how it sometimes looked like Yuzu was regretting what Yuzu had done to him. Drowning Yuzu regretting over-ambitious Yuzu who filled the paper cup too full. Lost kitten Yuzu regretting smolder Yuzu's aggressive cup and therefore bracelet throw. And sometimes it just wasn't clear which Yuzu was in control of Yuzu. This was best demonstrated during the transitions out of Real Face. In one performance, we actually saw the switch flip, bringing Yuzu out of Smolder Yuzu. And he actually looked a little stunned, as if he had just come out of a trance and was wondering, what just happened, and why am I wet? Another time, it looked like Yuzu returned with the thought of, okay, we're done here. But then Smolder Yuzu came back with a definitive, no, we are not!
完成です。
I think we all know we are in what one Fanyu perfectly and vaguely described as a crucial week. And we all know how much I love things that are perfect and vague. Yuzu gave us more than we ever could have imagined. And now, we wait for whatever will happen to happen. While we're giving Yuzu the space he needs, you can follow FanyuFanme on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Redbubble, YouTube, or FanyuFanme.com, where we're currently hanging out in the back row of the What's Next Yuzu arena. Come join us and bring your biggest I Love Yuzu banner. Until next time, say it with me, Yuzuru Hanyu.
ありがとうございました
The FanyuFanme podcast is a Back to the Forest production.
Back to the forest? You know, just kidding.